Hi, greetings and assalamu alaikum. My name is Shwa and I am the host and founder of a podcast called Light Up with Shwa. I hope you have visited my website lightupwithshwa.com. If you haven't, please do so. You can leave a comment or a recorded message there. And I hope you will also give it a chance to watch it or listen to it. It's an audio podcast and a video as well. And I'm available on all the platforms, which are YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Instagram, and you name it. So I have a little time with my special guest here today, and she is going to introduce herself in detail, but I would like to say that she's the youngest elected official, Muslim youngest elected official in America, and I am so grateful for her to take out time and be here. So Bushra, please tell us about who you are and what do you do and all the good stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Bushra Amiwala. I'm based out of Chicago, Illinois. I just graduated from DePaul University, class of 2020, amidst the global pandemic. I work at Google as my day job, what I do from 9 to 5. I'm an account manager there. And then outside of that, I serve on the Board of Education for Skokie School District 73 and a half, and am the youngest Muslim elected official in the United States.
Wow. and I will be putting those this more details about her bio in the show notes. So for more details how to connect to her will be there. So I have a few questions for her. That what inspired you to be in this field, this area, and at such a young age, and how did this happen?
Yeah, that is such a good question. So I was super involved with service work before. I was at 5 different nonprofit organizations the 5 days of the week and found myself volunteering at all of these different causes and issues that I really cared about. And I found that the best way to make long-term, practical, tangible change is through public policy. So because of that, I decided to take an AP Government and Politics class my senior year of high school. And through that class, I was connected to our US Senator at the time and decided to intern for them. And through that internship, learned a lot about government, local office, how to run for public office, and things of that sort. And then it was someone on that campaign that saw leadership ability and potential in me that I definitely did not see in myself at the time. And they asked me to run for public office.
At this, what age was this? 19, you said?
I was 18 at the time, but I was 19 by the time I ran.
Oh, wow. So then okay, so were you inclined towards service and helping people? Were you always, when you were little, did you have these remnants in you? What is it?
Yeah, I always did have a knack for service, and it came from my dad's lived experiences. My father immigrated to the United States from Karachi, Pakistan, with literally $20 in his pocket and an abundance of dreams. And he worked every job from bussing tables to flipping burgers to delivering pizzas to driving a taxi to later owning his own clothing store on the west side.
Real American dream story, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And my dad grew up quite impoverished in Karachi, Pakistan. So I always held a very special place in my heart for those who were less fortunate. And he did not have access to educational opportunities as much either. So educational inequality is also something that I hold a lot of value and importance to as well.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing your personal story. And so I guess that motivated you to be in service and help and make policies, and hopefully you will be doing all that. What So you don't have any family member in politics in US, anyone from your, okay, you are the first one.
I am the first one. Yep.
Wow. So what do you have family in Pakistan? Connections, extended family?
I do. I have my entire family lives in Karachi, Pakistan. I have cousins here and there in Amsterdam, and my sister lives in London, but the majority of my family is in Pakistan.
So what do they think about all what you're doing?
I think a lot of them more or less at the end of the day are proud to see me, step up to the plate. Obviously, some of them have a bit more conservative beliefs and mindsets. So they think that maybe it's not a place for a woman or anyone, to be in politics or what that may look like. But I think that seeing my experience has definitely broadened their minds quite a bit.
And they maybe have forgotten that we have had female Muslim leaders, and we do have them in Pakistan and in our region. in subcontinent, I guess. Yeah. But when it's your own, then you have like, no, you shouldn't do this. Do they say, are they relating it to what happens in Pakistan with the politics, because you are able to do what you need to do here? So your gender is not a big issue in politics here? Would would that be right to say?
So in American politics, I definitely think people do focus on my gender more than anything. And I definitely think that there is a lot of ingrained sexism that comes with politics, regardless of where you are. But I think in the United States, there's no feet, like it's the same thing there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think people, for example, focus more on my identity than they do my politics.
Okay, okay. So do you face identity being from originally your your roots are from Pakistan, you're a Muslim, and we know what's happening in the U.S. About the Muslims and being, you cover your hair. You're not exactly a hijab person, hijab taking person, but how do you handle that? Is that an issue here?
I think thankfully the town that I live in is very open and welcoming and things of that sort. But when I got a lot of national media attention, I
Mm-hmm.
think at the national level, I found that there are a lot of people that still hold Islamophobic sentiments into their hearts and still,
Okay.
fear what Muslims are, what they have to offer, and have these like predisposed beliefs and preconceived notions for what that
Mm-hmm.
looks like. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that came at the national level more than it did at the local level.
Okay, okay. So, but you are, I guess, a brave young person who is managing that, I'm sure, because you're going ahead with everything what you're doing, right?
Right, doing my best.
Yeah, and going to your website, and people, if you're interested, it's bushraamiwala.com. It's .com.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you visit her website, which I'll put in the show notes, you will see she has coaching, training going on, and all the other stuff. Do you want to briefly talk about that, and then I'll move on to my questions, because this is all spontaneous. See,
Oh,
I,
sure. No problem. Yeah.
yeah.
So something that I love to do outside of all things politics and things of that sort is public speaking. I think it's a lot of fun, and I've been blessed with a lot of amazing public speaking opportunities and things of that sort. So
Hmm.
I've been doing quite a bit of those, and then I recently kicked off coaching and formalized mentorship that I do for people, as I've always been reached out to by people asking to just pick my brain to get some advice, and it's a way
Excellent.
to streamline that
Yeah. So
activity.
I want to people to know. I'm sure they know, those who know, and through my platform, that you are not only an elected politician or official, but you do other stuff, and you work in Google, and you have coaching training going on, and you're doing a lot. So that's good. From the parenting aspect, as you know, that my podcast is on conscious living and parenting. So first, I would want to ask you, what is, if you can answer, what is conscious living to you? Would
Mhm.
you?
To me, conscious living is being aware of your emotions, your beliefs, your values, and to integrate those into the day to day work that you do, whether it be volunteerism, whether it be work, whether it be your relationships with friends, family, community members, whatever that may look like. And that in conjunction with, for example, I would say it's living with intention. So putting
Mm,
intention before everything. So being
mm.
very mindful and conscious of the work that you're putting out into the world and the way that you're engaging and interacting with other people.
Excellent. And that's, I think it's the right place to ask you that. When I looked at your profile and being so young, and so having that clarity, and that was my question, that did you always know yourself so well that you were so clear about all these little things and big things, and the way you are taking your path into being in politics and working and doing whatever you're doing? It's very clear and you are only 23, mashallah, bless you, and may you have a good, healthy, and good life ahead. But not everybody at this age is very clear about, I mean, we keep dabbling and going from here and there. So what where does this come from, the clarity and the focus?
I think I was forced to learn about myself quicker than I was ready to, if that makes sense. I
Okay.
think throwing myself into public office and the public light and public um, sphere and that entire sphere of influence, like you definitely learn about yourself quicker because people ask you those challenging questions and you don't necessarily have the privilege of changing your mind about what you
Oh,
stand on certain issues. You have to sort of stand your ground and be sort of formal and from the get-go with what you stand for, what your beliefs are, what your values are, and you can't just change them, right? You can't be wishy-washy, you can't be
yeah.
capricious. And I think just the settings that I was brought into in the public light sort of forced me to come to those terms quicker.
Appreciate your honest answer. It's like, oh, I was born with it. You could say that. All right. So, what are your challenges in the work you do?
I kind of touched on this earlier, but I'll go a little bit into detail. I think my greatest challenge is definitely that people talk about my identity more than they
Yeah.
talk about
Okay. From
my
that
books.
angle. Okay.
And I think the challenging part about that is, for example, I had a debate between my two male opponents and I. And in that
Hmm.
debate, there was a news article that wrote about that debate. And it
Oh.
talked about the two policy ideas that each male opponent presented. And it said, and Bushra Amiwala wore a stylish light pink hijab to the forum. And that is literally all it said about me.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Yeah.
so
So, that is.
yeah. So it's instances like that, right, that showcase that people care more about what you're dressed like, what you look like, as
Mm,
opposed to what you bring to the table. And
mm,
that's what the focus ends up being. One more example. I was offered $54,500 worth of corporate PAC funding, which I declined because it was not in line with my values. So I declined that much money that people to this day, political insiders say if Bushra Amiwal accepted that money, she would have won her first election. But it wasn't in line with my values. And I posted a video of myself sharing this that, hey, I was offered this money, I declined it. And I got messages from people saying, I love what you stand for, but could you lighten the lipstick next time? And again,
Oh,
it's
wow.
all
That's
that
interesting.
people.
I think, do you think it is because you're a woman that happens? Nobody asks for, I haven't seen people asking about men's suit. Is this Armani or this is, whatever other brand they are wearing and what shoes they are wearing. And I don't
It's
know.
definitely because I'm a woman. I
Yeah.
agree. I definitely think it's because I'm
Yeah.
a woman.
So do they ultimately come to your policy or to the debate that what's the content of it rather than who you are?
I
I
think
mean,
I
look
have to,
like, yeah.
I think I hold the responsibility to force it to get to that point then.
Okay, yeah. So that is going to make you really stronger than what you maybe want to be. But I guess you want to be stronger than because you have to get your message across beyond how you look. Let's say if you didn't wear this hijab, so what? You are still a woman, right? They would say, well, if they can say on your lipstick, then they would. There will be always something. So you can't
Mhm.
let that I guess dilute your message, I guess, right? That's how
Yeah.
you so how do you so what keeps going?
I think what keeps me going is to see how far I've come without that infrastructure in place, without that solid, base of support. Like I kind of did delve this and forge this path on my own.
Hmm.
Obviously, there were lots of people that helped me along the way that were mentors, friends, family
Mm,
members. But a lot of those people, at the end of the day, the battle came down to me versus the world, right? Those people don't make it out to the battlefield with you. They're
yeah,
there cheering you on the sidelines. And that's the
yeah.
difference of what that mentor mentee relationship looks like. So seeing how far I've come is what
Hmm.
keeps me going and what keeps me motivated.
That's very nice. Thank you so much. um, what do you think that you can suggest to parents of girls in US who are Muslims and they aspire and look up to you and want to be in your shoes or want to do something and they might be a little conservative? Like, do you have any suggestion for the parents and the youth?
Yeah, I think the message to the youth would be dream big and work hard, and you will be able to achieve whatever you would like to.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of basic standard advice, but I truly live by it and abide
Mm-hmm.
by it.
Uh-huh.
And parents, I would say, don't constrain your children. Let them shoot for the stars. They'll land on the moon, right? Worst
Mm-hmm.
case
Mm-hmm.
scenario. And I think that if your child has something that they are passionate about, the last thing you would want to do is to be a barrier between that goal and your child.
Okay. So, do you think your parents had to do something with this that they gave you confidence, or they're a big support for you? I guess they're not stopping you from being out there.
Yeah, they definitely are not stopping me from doing what I want to do, which is great. But I will admit, the first time I told my parents I wanted to run for office, my dad was very excited. He was like, yes, my beti, my daughter, you got this. I'm so excited. I'm very happy for you. But my mom, on the other hand, was very nervous for my safety in
Mm,
particular. And
yeah.
her response was no.
Oh, okay.
That's
Straight
all
no.
she had to say. She was like,
Uh,
nope, I don't think so. This is
uh,
not something that maybe it's not for people like us. We never even knew someone who had ran for office
okay.
before, right?
Mm,
So it was a really hard concept to grasp for them, I
that's
think.
true. So they came, finally your mother is aligned with you now, I assume,
Yeah,
I
she
guess.
is. Yep. One of my biggest support systems and
Okay.
people for sure.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So, how do you take care of this negativity and people talking about your lipstick and your head covering? And I'm sure you get comments, all kinds of comments. I hope you have more of supportive and positive comments, but how do you balance that? How do you take care of yourself in that?
Yeah. So I realized after doing this for like 4 to 6 years now that,
Wow.
which, sounds like such a long time, especially being in for my,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, doing this for this long, I realized that with every 100 positive comments, there will be one negative comment. And that's
Right.
what the ratio is. And
Okay,
you have
excellent.
a, yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
And
That's very good.
you have a whiteboard, and if you
Mhm.
put a black dot on there, all you see is the black dot, right? You
Mhm.
don't see the whiteboard, but you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at the greater, like at the grand scheme of things,
Mhm.
but what you're looking at. So that's what I would probably say is like remembering that ratio and thinking
Mhm.
that it's easier to focus on that negative comment, but you have
Mhm.
to look at the bigger picture.
That's very good. Very good. Thank you. I guess I have to come in the interest of time to my last leg of questions, and which is what is wealth for you as Bushra Amiwala?
That's a really good question. I think wealth is it's happiness and self-fulfillment, because what I would say is that, without happiness, if you're not happy or content where you are, then what are you doing, right? A lot of it means
Yeah,
nothing, I think,
that's true.
at the end of the day. Like you have to do something that fuels you, that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you're putting good into the world and contributing in a positive light and manner. And to me, happiness is that core tenet.
Excellent, excellent. So, do you have any other plans after this, or you're going to continue in this, or do you know, or because I feel you're very clear and very focused. So, is there a list of things that you are going to do that you can share, or you don't have to, but if you want
Sure.
to?
I definitely want to run for higher public office. That's definitely a goal and an intention that I have for myself. With
Okay.
that being said, my next sort of feat and big journey is that I'm writing a book. Um,
Oh,
so
nice.
thank you. So I hope,
Congratulations and all the best. And what is that about?
thank you. The book will be, it'll sort of be a memoir where I'll have
Okay.
personal anecdotal experiences incorporated throughout, but the theme of the book is courage.
Excellent. So that will be really good thing for youth to read and follow or whatever can be said
Yeah,
about it.
I would love that.
That's
Yep.
very good. All right. So, what is the value of gratitude in your life?
So I think I wouldn't be where I am if I did not pay thanks to the people that came before me.
Okay.
And I think you have to give credit where it's due. I think it is really important to, again, say thanks to the people that have supported you, that have mentored you, that have given up their time, and done things in a positive way or manner for you that has impacted you or in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So gratitude is everything to me. I think it is such an important quality and trait to have. And I think very few people will be successful without it.
That's true. As people, as you can hear and see, that Bushra Amiwala has all these beeps and messages coming to her and going on, that she is not a free person. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. So, the value of time, I'm sure she knows. What is the value of time for you, Bushra?
Time is definitely of the essence. Sometimes I wish we had more than 24 hours in a day. And when I was in school, I was working 2 internships at the time. I was a full-time student. I was a full-time campaign manager for my campaigns for public office, and I had a social life as well. Like I balanced all of that. So
Excellent.
I
Excellent.
definitely think that I have a lot more time now that I work full time than I did when I was in school and doing all
Okay.
of that other stuff. So it's easier to manage everything a lot more now, which I'm grateful for. And the pandemic has really helped slow things down and keep
Okay.
me grounded.
So I guess you started so early that you're still young and now you're all trained how to manage and balance your life. That's very good.
Yeah,
So that's why I think you would be a good coach and mentor to train people how to organize their life, because we always say we don't have time, but we do have. It depends where you put your where the priority is, right? Where do you put the time and not waste it, I guess.
exactly.
So yeah, I didn't ask you what do you like to do other than what you have mentioned. Do you have any other hobbies, and how do you unwind?
Yeah, so I go to the gym with a really good friend of mine, so that's a really fun thing for me to do.
Okay.
I don't like cardio. I don't like it's not fun to me to exercise, but it's something that I know I have to do and is good for
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, I love cooking and baking in
Okay.
particular,
Oh,
especially
nice.
especially
What,
sweet
what,
treats.
what? Oh, sweets.
Yeah, I'm a huge
Okay.
sweet tooth, so I love
Okay.
baking sweet treats. Like made muffins the other day. I love, baking cookies and brownies and cakes, and that's all really fun for me.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. My last leg of question is like being disconnected by my own questions because I wanted to go in that flow. But anyways, um, uh, do you believe in afterlife?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay. What is the purpose of your life then now at this stage?
I think the purpose of my life is to one, be a positive representation of the Ummah, of the Muslim community. I really do think that a lot of people who meet me around the country, because I've traveled so much and done speaking engagements all around the country. I've been to Alabama, to New York, to
Mm.
Los Angeles, and everywhere in between, right? The East Coast, the West Coast, South, Midwest, like you name it.
Have
And
you come to Boston?
I have been to Boston,
Oh,
yes.
okay. I hope you come again and let us know.
I will. I will. I would love to. I loved Boston. It was great.
Yes.
Love that city.
Okay.
And I really think that a lot of people, what they tell me is that you're the first Muslim person I've ever met, which
Hmm.
again, we make up of 1% of the national population. So you can't blame people for not having met Muslim people very often. And if their perception comes from just the media or a very
Yes.
hyper focused place of time, I think it's very hard to say that, oh, like, why do you have these preconceived notions? So I think it's to be that positive representation, and it's to inspire people to perhaps run for office themselves or to dream big or to chase their goals and dreams.
Exactly. Exactly. So, is it possible to have you invite you for interfaith discussions or forums, or if you have time in future? Because I'm a big I work in interfaith and intercultural relations a lot, and maybe we can Skype you in sometime if you have time, and get that conferences that we do to have your voice as the person you are. That would be really helpful from a Muslim perspective, because I do that a lot in my town here in big greater Boston.
Absolutely. I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just committing her here so that she can't say no to. On the record. She's bound to say yes. Yeah, she's gonna say no, I cannot come. No. Bushra, any message of hope that you would like to give today?
I guess my message of hope is the story of the American dream that I shared earlier. Like my story is incomplete without sharing my dad's story for sure. And seeing that he was able to come to the US with so little that he had, and that his daughter could grow up to become, an elected official in this country. And I was born in the US. So my parents always said that, oh my God, she could be president one day if she wanted to. Like, I think it's very sweet that that was said. And I
Yeah.
don't think they ever thought I would take it this seriously.
Seriously.
But
Like
here we are.
baby crying, like, oh, she's the president. And she's like, yes, I got it. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So, anything else you want to share or say before I ask you my last question, which I ask everyone?
Yeah, I'll just quickly say I try to be very as accessible as possible. I like to respond to all the messages and emails that come my way. I personally do that. I take the time every
Oh,
day. I
wow.
take an hour out to respond to the direct messages I've gotten on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it, and the
Okay.
emails that I receive. It's something that's really fun for me. So keep in touch, and I will definitely reach out.
Okay, so I can share your website so people can go there and then they can connect to you wherever, however they want to, because I think you have all these platforms on
Yeah,
your website. Okay,
exactly.
bushraamiwala.com.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Bushra. So my last question is, what lights you up?
Such a good question. I think your last question, why you asked people around you, I think change lights me up. Change
Okay.
really lights me up. Seeing the change that has happened in history, that has happened around me, and just in the past year, the change that has happened with the new administration.
Mm,
Change is the only constant, right?
yes.
Like
Yes.
that's so I definitely think that change lights me up and it gets me really motivated and energized and excited for what the future has in store.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for your time. And I do have a minute or two to ask you if you would like to say anything of our experience about if you, I don't know if you had a chance to look at my podcast or video or anything. And just in general, anything comes just spontaneously, nothing. And if you don't want to say anything, you don't have to say, but if you want to. All right. So I really appreciate Bushra for you taking out this time, being here, and sharing all your personal and your work-related information. And I hope people will can learn from your experience and follow you and visit your website.
Likewise, I would love to keep in touch with your viewers and listeners. And thank you so much for having me on today. It was a pleasure. And I really appreciated the questions that you asked. They were very fun and some that I've never been asked before.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.